Alright, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. That is the R in the RK Stumbling Bear. And I am here today for another Nebula Reactions, this time for the novelette category. And like last time, I will leave links to the novelettes down below where you can read them online. Word of warning for the story Emet by Lauren Ring. This is going to link you to her website, and there is a note saying that this is going to be a temporary location to read this, and it's for award purposes. So if you're watching this many years in the future or many months in the future, just way in the future after the nebulas are announced, it's possible that it won't be there anymore. So getting started, like I did last time, I'm going to start with my least favorite and go to my favorite. Now, to be fair, so if you use a ranking star system, all of these got a 4 or a 5-star rating for me. I enjoyed them. Starting with my least favorite. My least favorite is Colors of the Immortal Palette by Carolyn Yoakum. And this is a story of a biracial young woman. She's half French, half Japanese, who is growing up in France at the time of Monet and Manet. And yes, I did mean to say both of the names because they both are mentioned. More in the time of Impressionist painters, from what I understand. And she wants to be a painter herself. But unfortunately, many times she is regulated as a model because she's female. And she comes from a poor background. So she's working through that, also trying to get people to recognize that her art, because a lot of it is still shut off to women. During this time, she ends up modeling for a man who she finds out is immortal, and starts a relationship with him, and realizes she wants what he has, and understands that he is immortal in order to paint and to be an artist. And she wants that as well. Something that I found that was interesting in this world is the fact that there are immortals was a given in this world. So they're not hiding from society. It is known that they're there in society. So I would kind of say an alternate version of this world, but without changing too much. But this novelette really focuses on Mary, or Mariko, and her discovery of who she is. From the beginning, she knows that she's considered an outsider, and she is unhappy with her place in the world, and she's trying to break into what she considers the male space, as at the same time as trying to figure out who she is. And this is done through paint and painting. I feel like I might have enjoyed this story more if I was an artist. In that, like, for that sense. I know I write, but if I was someone who appreciated colors and painting, I think I would have enjoyed it more. It's not a bad story, it just wasn't one that worked all the way for me. Next, I have That Story Isn't the Story by John Wiswell, and this follows Anton, who is a vampire's familiar and does not want to be anymore. And he reaches out to an old friend who helps pull him out of that house and that life and helps him rebuild who he is. I will say trigger warning for abuse or leaving an abusive situation, because this very much mirrors that aspect of life. Anton, upon leaving this vampire in this household, has to learn how to be comfortable inside his own skin again, and how to be okay with who he is and realize that he is enough. His friend Grigori is amazing, very supportive, and I wish that everybody who is leaving an abusive situation would have someone like him in their lives. And it's not that he lets Anton slide. When Anton's freaking out on another roommate, he pulls him aside and be like, you can't do that. you talk to me, what's going on? But at the same time, he doesn't, when Anton's still trying to be comfortable in a new situation, he's not telling him, you have to go get a job and help us pay for food. He's giving him the time he needs. And so this is really a survivor's story. And it shows how one person can show others that change is possible. In third place, I have O2 Arena by Apeki. This is about a young man who is starting to who is just started law school with one of his old friends from undergrad, and she has let him know that she has ovarian cancer. And he's in love with her but isn't telling her. And this is set in a society in the near future in Lagos, Nigeria, where due to climate change and pollution, it's not safe to just breathe the air as is. So many people have to wear O2 filters over their face or be in a building that provides that service. Like anything, there's an underbelly. And there is an arena where you fight to the death in order to get a lifetime supply of oxygen. We get to watch what will bring somebody to that arena. In second place, I have Emet by Lauren Ring. So this is the story that is currently on her website, but only for award purposes to make it easier to read. This follows Chaya, a young Jewish woman who is a computer programmer, computer engineer, or coder, who is working for a surveillance company for facial recognition. She is happy with her job. She has the opportunity to work remotely, so she gets to stay on her farm and doesn't have to go into an office. So she considers herself lucky, considers herself to be taking care of herself. During this time, they are working towards updating their system, making it more efficient, better to recognize people's faces in crowds and in protests. And more protests are rising, and this is all happening alongside when California is going to be considering legislation to make it easier for people to use technology to recognize faces, especially law enforcement, without having to have a just cause or a reason to search for somebody. And her company then, on top of them already crunching to get everything ready, her company turns to just the workers to help find digitally these 36 big name protesters. At the same time, Chaya has inherited her mother's gift of creating golems, and it goes into the fact that we have golems is for protection. And right now she's using them to take care of chores around her house that she doesn't have the time or energy to do. And this is a moment of crisis for her. She's thinking back to her childhood, how facial recognition programs have affected her, how society has affected her and her family. And she has to decide whether she's going to allow everything to happen, she's going to stay silent, or how she's going to react to everything. I really enjoyed it. And then my favorite was Just Enough Rain by P.H. Lee. This follows a young woman named Annie, who is another young Jewish woman trying to figure out what she really wants from life. She feels like she has already failed at the purpose that God has given her, and God is very much a real personality in this. Her mother talks to God every week on the phone. And yes, I did say on the phone. And in this instance, there is one God, but he doesn't control, there isn't one true religion. He just oversees everything and then lets people do as they will. And it was interesting as Annie as God is trying to have a relationship with Annie like he has with her mom. And she comes to the realization that she thought that she had missed her purpose in life, and he goes, no, that wasn't your purpose. I was just trying to have small talk with you and get to know you because your mom talked about you so much. And that she realizes that she actually has more control over her life than she thought. And we get to see her take control. And it was a lot of fun. Like I said, that one is my favorite. So let me know down below. Have you read any of these? I know that 3 of these are also Hugo nominated. And so I'm curious, if you have read any of these, please let me know. And if you haven't, like I said, the links are going to be in this description. Read them and let me know what you think. Thank you and have a great day.